You would hear it used if like the kid is kind of annoyed with the parent, like I have done my homework. You might hear that have really stressed.
You're explaining to somebody, it's like past, so it's already happened, but it's not past. And it's kind of not the present either. So
If you're taking a test and you have a good understanding of it, you're probably going to have a better understanding than most native English speakers do anyway. So
hello, everyone. Today, I want to introduce my first guest, my friend Erica, whom I met in Canada. And Erica is a native English speaker. And I wanted to bring her perspective on one of the most confusing tenses for a lot of learners, the present perfect. We're going to talk about how native speakers actually think about it, not just the grammar rules, but the actual feeling behind it. Thank you, Erica, for doing that. I appreciate that. I think all our viewers and listeners would also benefit from this conversation. Erica is a native speaker. She's from South, right? You grew up in North Carolina. And
yep.
I would like you to explain the concept, a very convoluted one, and probably one of the most difficult topics in grammar for English learners, which is present perfect. But I want you to explain it from your own perspective, how a native speaker views this topic of like partly past, partly present tense, rather than just delving in the grammar explanations. Like, tell me how you view personally this tense, and what situations you would rather use it over the other tenses.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a tense that, as a North American English speaker, you don't use as often. Typically, it's the way it's taught is that it's a tense that's used to describe, an action in the past, but it also links to the present. So it's like a continuous action, or
Yeah.
somehow is very relevant to what's currently happening, or related to the present situation. But to me, and how we use it in North American English, it's like almost the complete opposite. It's more like a task that's done, it's completed, it's something that's happened in the past. So, for example, you would say like, have you ever been skiing? Oh yeah, I've been skiing. I've done it. It's done. It's happened, and it's kind of over. The only relation that to me for the present is just the present conversation that's happening. No
Yeah.
link in my mind doesn't make any sort of link other than just the present conversation. You're going to use just the simple past a lot more frequently. You'll use it more to refer to something that has happened at some point in the past.
So what tense would you use in that case when you've done something recently?
Yeah, you would definitely use it just more like a simple past. Like I did it.
I did it, yeah.
I did it yesterday. I did it, or I completed it. It's done, and that's kind of relates to the actual rules for how it's used as well. But it would be something that it had happened at some point. I have lived in the United States. I have gone to on this trip. It's something that did happen, but it's kind of like we've moved on from it, I guess, and it's uh, it's sort of contradictory to the rules a bit in the
Yeah,
way.
like the way how it is usually explained is uh, that if something was done like in the past, like farther in the past, then you would use just past simple, and if it's anyhow related to your present, then you would use present perfect more. There are two versions of present perfect. There's simple and continuous. In some cases, you're using just like I've done something. But in some other cases, you're using I've been doing something. So what is the difference? Like, how do you view that difference between just I've done it, or I've been doing it, or like I've
Yeah.
drunk it, or like I've been drinking it, right?
Mhm. I would say, yeah, the difference in something like that, like I have done something, like it is a completed task. You've done it in the past. It's not ongoing. Versus I have been doing. So, I have been learning a new language, or I have learned a language in the past, or I have studied language in the past, but maybe it's stopped now and I'm not studying anymore. Versus, I have been studying and it is still something that is ongoing. I
Mm-hmm.
think for the most part too, like I have done this, I have done that. It's something that kind of relates to your experience in it too. So you can definitely kind of think about it as like you're relating like personal experience to like I have done this, I have been there, I have tried this. When
Yeah.
you're having conversation with someone, it's just a
Automatic.
natural feeling, right? Exactly. It's
Hmm.
more of an automatic thing. Maybe in terms of like it's present in the conversation that you're currently having. The only connection with like the present would be like the context of the conversation that you're having like in that moment.
Yeah.
But no, never would I use it in terms of thinking that like it's linking somehow to what's happening right now,
Yeah.
presently, or like a continuation of certain things.
Let's look at one more example. You can say, I did my homework versus I've done my homework. When would you
Mhm.
use one over the other?
Like that's a good example of how we don't normally use that. So like I would say there would never be an occasion I would probably say I have done my homework. I would always say I did my homework.
Hmm.
It would just be more natural, more conversational. I have done my homework sounds much more proper.
Like I'm thinking, let's
Mhm.
say like you're a kid, right? You're like 7 years
Right.
old and you had some homework to do. And
Mhm.
your parents told you when you do your homework, then you can go and play around, right? And
Right.
you've been working on your homework to do it. In that case, you've just done it, right? Would you say I've done my
Mhm.
homework, or would you still say I did my homework? Can I go out now, for
Yeah, I
example?
you would probably still hear, "I did my homework, can I go out now?" Or, I
Okay,
completed it, I
that's
did it."
interesting.
Yeah. I think it's typically, you might hear, "I've done my homework," but again, it just sounds much more proper
Proper.
that,
Okay.
you typically wouldn't hear that, especially from a child. The child would definitely just say, "I did my homework, can
Yeah.
I go out now?"
Yeah.
Um, exactly, yeah.
There are some concepts in language that are like a bit more difficult to understand, and especially for a kid, I imagine. And um, do you think like how is it taught in schools? Like for example, when you're a kid, you were not taught about like this present perfect tense at all.
Yeah, so I would say like it's a little bit more advanced in the grammar rules. That's something that you would start learning later in schooling. So for me, like in growing up in the United States, it would be something you would learn more like in high school. Some of those more advanced grammar rules, for sure. Yeah.
But like up to that point, would you be as a kid just using like regular past like simple tense?
Yeah, you would be using like regular past simple. I mean, you would definitely just use that tense too, just from hearing it, hearing it, reading it,
Yeah.
seeing it in TV shows. But it's the rule behind it is it's not something that I think even if you asked most just typical English speakers, they probably wouldn't even be able to explain to you the exact rule behind it. And yeah, we wouldn't even probably know the exact rule behind why we're using it.
Interesting. French has a similar idea of like recent past tense. Um, but in all your Eastern European tenses, it just doesn't exist. Like we simplified it to just a level that there is present, past, and future. And that's it. There's
Mhm.
nothing like if it already happened, it's the past. Like no matter when it happened, no matter how relevant it is, or if it's still going, it would be present. And for a lot of non-native speakers who are learning English, like it's extremely difficult to like just understand. It's not that like it's difficult to learn that you have to use the third form of the verb or to understand that usage. It's kind of complicated.
Mhm.
It's just you're explaining to somebody. It's like past, so it's already happened, but it's not past and it's kind of not the present either. So they're like, so what is it? Well, it's kind of in between, and usually it's very,
Right.
it's like convoluted. It's like okay,
You're gonna hear the past tense, like just a simple past tense, way more frequently, just because it does sound more proper as well, and most people don't speak that way. At least in North America, it's
hmm
definitely not as spoken. But your example with the homework is a great example. It's you typically definitely wouldn't hear like I have done my homework. It just sounds way too formal, too proper. Um, for everyday conversation. I think as long as you can use the past tense, you're going to be able to get your meaning across, and anyone would understand what you're saying, and be able to. There are definitely instances too where both the past tense and the present perfect can be interchangeable as well.
Yeah.
So it can be changed a bit to stress certain meanings. Um, in your example of the homework, maybe you would hear it used if like the kid is kind of annoyed with the parent, like I have done my homework. You might hear that have really stressed.
On the other hand, you can also just say, I did do my homework, right? To stress it and
Right, exactly.
emphasize it the same way. The thing that would be very beneficial and useful from this conversation, I think, for people is to
Mhm.
understand that it's not like they have to necessarily know how to use present perfect like 100% correctly to just even like live and function in a English speaking environment. Like it's a tense that definitely like I think you should know, like you should be learning, but not to concentrate all of your effort and just not think that you cannot speak the language if you're not just confident in using it.
Yeah, I definitely say don't stress about that one so much for sure.
Yeah.
If you're taking a test and you have a good understanding of it, you're probably going to have a better understanding than most native English speakers do anyway. So,
Mm.
for that particular tense, it's definitely not something that's even like I would ever even worry about or think about.